Hello and welcome to Sonic Lore, History of Mobius. Last time, I retold Sonic's multiversal battle against Robotnik. Now, it's time for Sonic to face someone even he can't defeat, E.V.E. Sonic's adventure began with him taking out a group of SWAT bots. Sonic mocked Robotnik for sending his old robots after him. At the same time, Robotnik observed Sonic's battle and was pleased by how things were going. Snively was confused about why his uncle was happy to see Sonic winning against his SWAT bots. Robotnik responded by revealing it was a mission to gather data for his computer to analyze. Robotnik checked the printed out data on Sonic and confirmed it was all there. He then ordered Snively to grab some of the data and follow him. Snively asked Robotnik where they were going. Robotnik replied that they would meet the challenge of the unknown and break fresh ground. Robotnik led Snively to a cyber-mechanoid design facility. He told his nephew that it was a place dedicated to brewing up trouble on a 24-hour basis. He then pointed out the metallic substance in the containment vessel. Snively thought it was a lava lamp, but Robotnik corrected his nephew and introduced him to E.V.E. Robotnik stated that Eve was the first race of exceptionally versatile evolvenoids. He explained to Snively that they were robots with the capacity to learn, grow, and adapt to any and all situations. He revealed the secret behind Eve's existence was submicroscopic component parts, which he claimed were virtually indestructible. Robotnik also stated that Eve contained some special parts that required Sonic's data to be complete. Robotnik inserted Sonic's data into his computer and claimed that Eve would use it to find a way to kill Sonic. Later, Tails praised Sonic on his latest victory. Sonic said Robotnik had been scraping the bottom of the barrel and his tricks were getting old. Sonic continued complaining about Robotnik's repetitiveness while unaware he was being targeted by Eve. Eve caught Sonic and Tails by surprise when she emerged from the ground. She grabbed Sonic's leg and threw him into a tree. Sonic quickly recovered and avoided Eve's gunshots. He complimented Robotnik's newest creation and praised its firing speed. Sonic outsmarted Eve by standing in front of a tree and dodged her attack at the last second, causing her shot to hit the tree and fall on top of her. Tails wanted to know who attacked them, but Sonic didn't have an answer. He told Tails they should head back to Knothole and see if Rotor could figure things out. Meanwhile, Snively pointed out Sonic's victory over Eve. However, Robotnik said that appearances could be deceiving. He revealed the special parts within Eve were his cells and cells from one of Sonic's quills he obtained during an earlier battle. Robotnik boasted that Eve was the perfect combination of his intelligence, craftiness, superiority, and a little of Sonic's resourcefulness. Robotnik said he hated combining anything of his with Sonic, but remarked that using something different but similar was the best way to destroy him. Meanwhile, Eve reverted to her liquid form and transformed. Later, Tails said he hoped they wouldn't encounter more creatures like Eve. Sonic assured him that their previous attacker was one of a kind. Suddenly, Tails heard a loud buzzing noise. Sonic turned around and saw Eve in her wasp form. Eve shot at Sonic and Tails, but they quickly jumped out of the way. As Sonic and Tails ran from Eve, Sonic said Eve's second form was tougher than her previous one. Tails told Sonic that Eve was right behind them. Sonic said he knew and was counting on it. He pointed out Eve's improved speed and wondered if she could stop on a dime. Sonic then ran up a wall, causing Eve to crash into it. Sonic noticed the identical battle plans between Eve's first and second forms. Tails assumed that both of their assailants were part of the same bot. However, Sonic discovered the truth when he and Tails witnessed Eve change into her liquid form. Sonic told Tails they should leave and get a scientific explanation. Meanwhile, Snively joked about Eve's second failure. Robotnik said it didn't matter how many times Eve failed. He told Snively that she would process and analyze the tactics used to defeat her and then surpass those limitations. Robotnik was about to reveal more about E.V.E, but Sonic suddenly showed up and interrupted him. Robotnik was glad to see Sonic and claimed that E.V.E would destroy him. Sonic mistook E.V.E for a person, but Robotnik corrected him and said they already met several times. E.V.E then suddenly burst in as a giant cobra. Sonic attempted to escape from E.V.E, while Robotnik said she would never stop until she fulfilled her programming. E.V.E caught Sonic and attempted to squeeze him to death. Sonic joked about not being interested in her and claimed he already had a significant other. He then used his Sonic spin to escape from E.V.E.'s grasp. Sonic bounced around E.V.E until she was tangled up. Sonic then made various puns about knots and ties, but he was surprised when E.V.E changed her form and asked what was happening. Robotnik told him it was progress and reiterated that E.V.E evolved with each defeat. E.V.E then transformed into her final form. E.V.E introduced herself and said her purpose was to surpass her limitations. She said that her single greatest limitation was Robotnik, which shocked him. Robotnik told E.V.E that he gave her form, knowledge, and the desire to improve herself, which he said were the qualities of life. E.V.E agreed with his statement. She then lifted Robotnik with her telekinesis and revealed that Robotnik created her, using his and Sonic's cells, which surprised Sonic. E.V.E threw Robotnik into a wall and told him that his cells didn't provide intelligence, but evil. However, she remarked that his evil was overpowered by what she had received from Sonic. She told Robotnik that he mistakenly thought Sonic's cells would give her his resourcefulness, and pointed out that that was a learned trait. E.V.E revealed that she had inherited the ability to think for herself from Sonic. Robotnik took out a laser gun and shot at E.V.E, but she reflected the shot with an energy shield while proclaiming that the logic she gained from Sonic told her she no longer needed to be Robotnik's servant. She declared to Robotnik that combining his and Sonic's qualities led to his downfall. She then hit Robotnik with her laser eyes, thus disintegrating him on the spot. Sonic, Tails, and Snively were shocked after witnessing Robotnik's destruction. Now that Robotnik was gone, E.V.E said she would fulfill her programming to kill Sonic. Sonic told her to hold on and said he wanted to get some things off his chest. Sonic reminded E.V.E that Robotnik programmed her to surpass her limitations. He then pointed out that her biggest limitation wasn't Robotnik, but her programming. Sonic told E.V.E she would never be all she could be until she surpassed her limit. E.V.E admitted that his theory made sense to her. E.V.E then said she could make her own choices now that she was free. She stated she wasn't limited by any boundaries as she left into space. E.V.E then transformed into a butterfly and thanked Sonic for showing her what it meant to be free and to be herself. Tails asked Sonic how he knew his plan would work. Sonic said he didn't know and just got lucky. Tails then asked if E.V.E would return. Sonic replied they would deal with her when and if it ever happened. Tails asked Sonic several questions about their future now that Robotnik was dead. Sonic was overwhelmed by Tails' questions, but before he could answer any of them, Snively yelled at them to leave. Sonic told Tails they should head back to Knothole and spread the news. He also said they should let Snively grieve for his uncle. Afterward, Tails told Sonic he had a bad thought. He asked if Robotnik was truly gone. Sonic said he might be right, and he felt they hadn't heard the last of Robotnik. Meanwhile, in an alternate timeline, Sonic and Sally were spending time outside with their kids, Sonia and Manic. Sally pointed out the strange change in the weather, but Sonic assured her that it was normal. Suddenly, a lightning strike nearly hit Sonia, but her father quickly pulled her to safety. Sonia said she was scared, but Sonic told her she didn't need to be afraid of lightning. However, Sonic was shocked when Robotnik appeared in front of him. Sonia asked her mother about Robotnik and said he looked mean and nasty. Sonic stated she didn't know the half of it. Manic thought he knew who Robotnik was, but Robotnik suddenly disappeared after another lightning strike hit. Afterward, Manic mistakenly called Robotnik the Boogeyman, which amused Sonic. Sally asked Sonic if Robotnik had returned, but Sonic said that Robotnik died in their final battle and reminded her that she was there to witness it. Sonic reassured his family that what they saw was a weird freak of nature. At the same time, Robotnik detected the surge of energy from his orbital station and captured it to investigate. He also hoped it would help him find a solution to his dilemma. Robotnik harnessed the energy, resulting in Robotnik returning to normal. When Robotnik asked about his location, Robotnik welcomed him to his ship. Robotnik wanted to know who spoke, so Robotnik revealed himself on a monitor. Robotnik told his counterpart that he was in an alternate timeline, which made Robotnik recall his last encounter with another version of Robotnik. Robotnik revealed that during his final battle with Sonic, he had to undergo robotization if he wanted any hope of beating him. However, he couldn't defeat Sonic, so he was forced to upload his core memory into his space station. Unfortunately, his station was unfinished, so he could only operate its functions until his systems ran down. Robotnik said all was lost, but Robotnik refused to give in. He encouraged Robotnik to continue fighting despite his previous loss, and used his encounter with E.V.E. as an example. He also told his counterpart that he would someday evolve to the next level. Robotnik stated that the clearest course of action was for him to return home and ensure his victory. He then asked his counterpart if he had a way to send him back. Robotnik used his station's tech to return Robotnik to Mobius Prime. Meanwhile, the Freedom Fighters were raiding one of Robotnik's warehouses. Rotor warned Sonic to be careful with the crates since they might contain dangerous items, but Sonic said it was just SWATbot parts. Sally told Rotor she felt something wasn't right. Sally said she was concerned since Snively should have been able to keep things going without Robotnik. Rotor said it depended on how much information Robotnik trusted Snively with. At the same time, Snively monitored the Freedom Fighters and said that Rotor was close to the truth. Snively cursed his uncle for not revealing his secrets to him despite his years of servitude. Snively said he couldn't believe that Sonic had finally won it all. Suddenly, he heard one of the computers turn on, and a pre-recorded message from Robotnik started playing. Robotnik announced to the Freedom Fighters that he might have died, but he wasn't finished yet. Robotnik declared that if he couldn't have Mobius, then neither would they. Sonic and his friends were shocked when they saw Robotnik's message playing in the warehouse. Robotnik's message ended with him revealing that he unleashed all of his SWATbots and other forces to decimate Mobius. One SWATbot nearly hit Sally with its laser, but Sonic saved her. Sally told Sonic they needed a plan, so Sonic instructed her to distract the SWATbots while he handled the situation. A SWATbot targeted Sally as she voiced her frustrations about being treated like a sitting duck. Luckily, Sonic saved her from the SWATbot. Sally told Sonic to stop admiring his work and reminded him that there were more SWATbots on the loose. Tails warned Sonic about a group of SWATbots behind him. Sally shouted that there were too many SWATbots, and Sonic said they needed a better plan. Antoine called everyone over to a room he thought they could escape through. However, he was shocked when he saw Robotnik's mechs had cornered them. Meanwhile, two SWATbots targeted Snively. Snively shouted that they should be after Sonic, but one of the SWATbots said that Operation Wasteland was in effect, and its directive was to destroy everything in sight. The SWATbot shot at Snively, but he ducked while screaming at them to stop wrecking Robotropolis. The SWATbot was about to kill Snively, but Robotnik suddenly entered the room. Robotnik asked Snively what was going on. Snively shouted at his uncle to deactivate the SWATbots. The SWATbot switched his target to Robotnik, but Robotnik destroyed it with his laser gun. Robotnik demanded that Snively tell him about the situation. Snively got on his knees and said it wasn't his fault. He was about to tell him about Operation Wasteland, but Robotnik immediately realized what happened. He called Snively an imbecile and revealed that he accidentally activated Operation Wasteland when he uttered the code words, "Sonic has finally won it all." Snively asked how he was supposed to know. and pointed out that his uncle never told him such secrets. Robotnik replied that the less the hired help knew, the harder it was for them to be treacherous. Snively said he was glad to have Robotnik back, though he insulted him under his breath. Robotnik said he'd have to act quickly if he wanted to have anything to come back home to. He also saw Sonic and his friends struggling against the swap bots. Meanwhile, Sonic took out a swap bot, but said he was having trouble taking down most of them. He then ran up to Sally and told her there were too many swap bots. Sally ordered everyone to clear out. The freedom fighters tried to escape through a room, but the swap bots cut them off. At the same time, Snively said the freedom fighters were finally getting theirs. However, Robotnik figured if he didn't stop all of the destruction his forces were causing, there wouldn't be anything left for him to rule, so he reluctantly deactivated his swap bots. Sonic was surprised when he saw the swap bots shut down. Sally asked Rotor for his opinion on what happened. Rotor said it looked like someone or something deactivated the swap bots. Tails interjected and told everyone they should leave while they could. Meanwhile, Snively asked Robotnik if he could imagine how Sonic would feel if he knew he owed his life to him. Robotnik told Snively that his question could be an excellent strategy since it would cripple Sonic's ego. Robotnik sent Sonic a message telling him that he was the person who saved his life. Sonic was shocked to see Robotnik had returned. Sonic pointed out that he and Tails witnessed Robotnik's death at the hands of E.V.E. Robotnik responded by saying what Sonic saw was false. He then said he wanted the satisfaction of seeing Sonic's face after knowing who saved him. Sonic asked Robotnik what he wanted from him. Robotnik said that Sonic realizing his fate was in his hands was enough for him. He said the game was over for now and showed the freedom fighters the exit to his warehouse. He then stated that the next game would be of his choosing and Sonic would least expect it. Robotnik then looked over Robotropolis and said there was no gain or loss and they would live to fight another day. Sometime later, Sonic searched for medicinal berries with Sally, Rotor, and Tails. Suddenly, Sonic started dancing. Sally told Sonic to stop, but Tails enjoyed watching him. Sonic said he wasn't dancing, but itching due to the ants in his shoe. He removed his right shoe and discovered some of Rotor's Mobian farm ants had escaped. Rotor rushed over and thanked Sonic for finding them. Sonic asked Rotor why he kept ants as pets. Rotor said it was because they were interesting to watch and claimed they liked being on the farm. Sonic wanted to know why they kept escaping, but Sally reminded Sonic they were close to Robotropolis and ordered them to find some berries before Robotnik appeared. Suddenly, Robotnik emerged from some bushes and shot at Sally with his portable roboticizer. Sonic pushed Sally to safety, but Sally pointed out that Rotor was missing. Sonic saw Rotor was distracted while looking for his ants. Robotnik aimed at Rotor while Sonic planned to save him. However, a giant tube suddenly appeared from the sky and sucked up everyone. The group landed in an unknown area. Robotnik accused Sonic of laying a trap for him, but Sonic denied his involvement in their capture. Rotor asked who brought them and why. Robotnik said he didn't want to find out and tried to escape through the tube, but a giant hand stopped him. Sonic and the others were shocked when they met their captor, a metallic giant. The alien asked Robotnik if he thought he would allow him to escape, and declared they would all stay with him forever. After Sonic introduced himself, he wanted to know why the alien had brought them to his ship, and demanded that he return them to Mobius. The giant said his name was Karim, and he was a collector from a planet called E.V.E. He then revealed he came to Mobius to collect and study the planet's species. Robotnik was surprised by the news and tried to bargain with Karim to let him go. Karim shouted for Robotnik to be quiet and threatened to dispose of him. Sonic asked Karim to spare Robotnik and said he was part of the freedom fighters. Sally backed up Sonic's lie and said that their species depended on each other for survival, so they needed Robotnik. Karim said it was strange how they were interdependent. He then told them his species trained to live in space alone. Karim decided to spare Robotnik and put everyone in his observation tank. He informed everyone that the tank was a replica of Mobius, and he planned for them to live there while he studied them. Tails was surprised that the tank looked like the Great Forest, but Robotnik didn't like the lack of pollution. Sonic asked for some food, so Karim went to get them some. Sonic planned to escape, while Karim was distracted. Sonic tried to cut through the tank with his Sonic spin, but he bounced off it. Sonic's failure caused everyone to panic. Days later, Sonic and his friends were working while Robotnik lazed around. Sally told Robotnik he also needed to work since they saved his life. Robotnik refused to help, so Sonic reminded him that they told Karim he was part of the Freedom Fighters and said Karim would find it suspicious if he didn't act like one. Robotnik asked if that was true, and Sonic responded by pointing out that Karim was watching his every move. He then implied what would happen if Karim found out Robotnik wasn't a freedom fighter. Robotnik panicked and asked what he could do to fool his captor. Sonic had Robotnik recite the freedom fighter's oath to become part of the group. Snively congratulated his uncle, but Robotnik told him to shut up. Later, Sonic told Rotor he'd been thinking about Rotor's earlier words when he said they were like his ants. Rotor asked Sonic what he meant. Sonic reminded him that he watched his ants because he found them interesting and suggested they stop being interesting to Karim. Rotor asked Sonic what good that would do. Sonic said it might get Karim to open the top of the tank, but Rotor wanted to know how they would escape and get back to Mobius. Robotnik then appeared and said to leave it to him. Robotnik said if they helped them gather materials, he could build a vehicle for them to escape from the tank. He then said he would operate Karim's tube and fly them back to Mobius while Sonic distracted Karim. Sonic was skeptical about Robotnik's plan, but Robotnik reminded him that he was now a freedom fighter. The next day, Karim found Sonic's lifeless body and decided to examine him. Karim opened the tank and said he would dispose of the others if they were also dead. Once Karim's hand was close enough, Sonic stopped playing dead and ran up his sleeve. While Sonic distracted Karim, everyone uncovered Robotnik's makeshift copter and used it to escape the tank. Robotnik used his invention to fly them over to the ship's control panel. Sally asked Robotnik why he took them there and pointed out that there was no place to hide. Robotnik revealed that he had been watching Karim operate the control panel. He then jumped out of the copter and landed on a button that opened the ship's door. Karim pleaded for help while he was pulled out to space. Sally ordered Robotnik to close the ship's door, so Robotnik pushed a button to shut the door. Robotnik said he was glad he got rid of Karim and Sonic. Tails insulted Robotnik, and Sally told him that freedom fighters respected all life, whether friend or enemy. Rotor pointed out that Karim's uniform protected him and Sonic from the harshness of space, but he also said that they would float helplessly forever. Rotor had an idea to save Sonic and Karim and told Sally and Tails to hold Robotnik. Rotor pressed one of the buttons on the control panel, causing it to send out the ship's tube. Karim grabbed onto it and returned to his ship. Later, Karim thanked the freedom fighters for saving him and said they taught him a valuable lesson. He learned that he was acting like an inferior being by treating other species like one. Karim said he would return everyone home and promised to only collect non-living things from now on. Sonic asked Karim to drop Robotnik and Snively in a pond of toxic slime when he returned them to Robotropolis. Soon, Rotor told his friends that he freed his ants and asked if they were proud of him. However, he was surprised when he saw his friends itching due to his ants. Later that evening, Antoine nearly had a heart attack when he woke up and saw a large shadow on his wall. He opened his door and was relieved to see it was just Tails sitting by himself. Tails told Antoine he couldn't sleep because Sonic gave him a power ring to hold on to, and he left it somewhere. Tails was saddened by the thought of Sonic never letting him go on missions again if he found out about his blunder. Antoine told Tails to keep up a stiff chin and declared that he would retrieve the power ring. He asked Tails where he left the power ring. Tails revealed it was in Robotropolis, which shocked Antoine. Tails told Antoine he had left the ring in his backpack, but warned him not to go on such a dangerous mission alone. Antoine laughed and asked Tails if he thought only Sonic could do solo missions. He then told Tails to draw him a map and promised to bring the backpack back. Bunny woke up and came outside to ask Tails about all the noise. Tails told Bunny about Antoine's solo mission to Robotropolis. He said he never knew Antoine could be so brave and asked Bunny if she knew. However, he was surprised to see she was suddenly gone. Later, in Robotropolis, Antoine snuck into the city through the sewers. Antoine began to read the map, but he suddenly heard a roaring sound. A large vehicle detected Antoine and approached him, but a steel beam fell in its path, causing it to crash. Antoine said things were too noisy and decided to go to another street. Later, Antoine looked at the map and saw the backpack was located at the top of the building in front of him. Antoine's only choice to reach it was to climb the ladder. Soon, some SWAT bots noticed Antoine climbing. Antoine quickly reached the top and got the backpack. However, he was unaware that the SWAT bots were after him. The SWAT bots began climbing the ladder, but one of them heard a strange sound. The ladder suddenly broke off, and the SWAT bots fell to their doom. However, one of the SWAT bots reported to Robotnik about Antoine before it shut down. Later, Antoine was outside Robotropolis, but he needed to crawl through a pipe above some toxic ooze to get back to Knothole. Antoine went into the pipe, but unbeknownst to him, Robotnik was on his tail. Snively spotted Antoine, but pointed out that their sensors picked up another intruder. Robotnik dismissed Snively's report and focused on catching Antoine. Robotnik ordered Snively to smash the pipe with their hovercar. However, the pipe suddenly moved, causing Robotnik and Snively to crash into the ooze. Later, Tails thanked Antoine for retrieving his backpack, and Bunny called him brave. Antoine appreciated their compliments, but said what he did wasn't brave, but foolish. Antoine warned Tails not to do anything risky himself, and told Tails not to tell anyone about his solo mission. Tails promised he wouldn't, and said goodnight to Antoine. Once Tails left, Antoine thanked Bunny for helping him, and kissed her cheek. And that's it for this video of Sonic Lore History of Mobius. If you enjoyed it, then please comment, like, and sub for more. Thank you.